You know I was gonna give you some extra stuff anyway. You already know.
Duh.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Irv and Co. Irv and Co. If you're looking for a podcast, here you go. Irv and Co. Irv and Co. If you're looking for a podcast, here you go. 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 Yo. What it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be. This is what it is. What's happening? This is what Irv and Co. We got Amanda. Tell the people what's happening, Amanda.
Hello, how you doing? It is me, and it is February. I love February.
Yeah, we got a special guest sitting beside me today. We got the young king, Nate Delevoe. I seen my young man. This dude, I guess I can personally say I seen my dude grow up, and I was at an event, and dude hit behind the mic, and he started speaking, and I was just like, nah, this ain't the young dude I seen growing up playing behind the little trucks and stuff like that. And he was speaking so prolific. I was like, yeah, we gotta get him on the podcast because it's no way this young man is this educated and this informed of what's going on in the world. So you know what I'm saying? We had to get him out here. And of course, it's Black History Month. Well, we should be celebrating Black excellence all year round. But we had to come through February with some educational, some knowledge, and we want to get somebody who has a little bit more info and got a little bit artistically done. Shout out to my boy over here, my king, my young fam, Nate Delevoe. What's happening, Nate?
What's going on, cuz?
Yo, I appreciate you stopping by with us. Yo, from young kid to now, man, where did you go from there to get so prolific with your words?
Oh man, thank you for the intro. I blame everybody in my house. We always had to argue, and when you argued all the time, you had to define, you had to come to agreement on the terms, and you had to make sure you get all your facts together, which is going to give you a lot of research. Now, my family at the same time, being a Black family, you gonna know about Black history. History was always one of my favorite topics anyway. Just anyway, and I guess it's just from the interest in that. When I went to college, I took all the Black history classes. Now I was a PWI, and it wasn't a lot of Black history classes, but I took all the Black history classes. I fell asleep in class and still got A's in the class. But it was just something that I cared about, and I felt like communicating is always key. So you look up words, you know what I'm saying? When you like history so much, you start looking at documentaries and stuff like that, start really researching information that make you want to look up definitions of words so that way you can use it correctly. I still do that. So that's all. That's the foundation of it. And then just pursued my interest, and that was it.
Well, you remember your first time writing your first poem?
Yeah, I do. Do I remember my first poem? A little bit, but I remember the first time writing it.
How old were you? Remember?
I was a junior in high school.
Wow.
But I didn't perform until I got to college. But it's funny how that happened. I went to go visit my brother in Atlanta, and this man left. He left the house. I was at the house by myself waiting for people to come back. All I had was a pen and a paper, and I was bored. So I'm like, all right, I still got that book, by the way. I just started writing a couple poems in that book. And that's how I started. I just kept it up throughout my senior year, and then when I got to college, I kept on performing, and so that's how that happened. It was that's how that happened. I couldn't even tell you, but yeah.
All right, Amanda, you got anything for the young kid?
Yes, I do. My question is, describe yourself in 3 words.
All right, it's real simple. Describe myself in 3 words. Before I get in front of anybody and perform, I give them not a prereq, but like an intro. I'm like, look, certain facts I can't deny. I'm Black, I'm Christian, and I'm a male. That's about it. Poetically, that's how I describe myself. That's the only perspective I can speak from and speak from truthfully. So that's what I am. And that's about it. But if I outside of that adjectives, I would say that I'm definitely talkative. I definitely, what's the word for crack jokes? I don't know. I don't want to say funny. That's a big claim.
He's humorous.
Yeah, that's a big claim, because you know when somebody tell you that they funny, you don't set the bar all the way up here. But then when you not, you know what I'm saying, they go like, oh man, I thought she was funny. Like, what happened? Like,
yeah, now they have expectation.
Nah. And I would say and I try to say this as humbly as possible. I would say wise. Wise is not knowing. Is knowing that you don't know everything, but being willing to seek and discriminate information. So I'll say that.
I definitely second that.
Yeah, my mom says I'm special, so you can throw that in there.
I think
I love moms. For real.
When I was a fat kid, my mom used to call me fat, like husky, whatever she wanted to call it, but that's what it was.
Well, I mean, we all had our times. You know, the fat vegan said.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Another one that I have is that, did you want to be a poet when you were little?
I grew up in a black community. We wanted to be a rapper. That's in South Florida. I wanted to be a football playing rapper. So there you go. I was going to say, before I forget what you just said, this man is vegan. That's the commitment right there. He got dreads. That's also commitment right there. So
yeah, that's a reincarnation of Bob Marley. You didn't know?
You got to be committed to do that, and you got to have a hair for it. But you know, that's how I started.
Yeah.
But nah, I didn't want to be a poet. I didn't. I thought I was gonna be a engineer, and in a different life, maybe I probably would have tried to be a lawyer. If not, or something, some type of trade. If not an NFL football player, if you know, I was average. But nah, poetry was never that. If all the arts and performances that people do, that is by far the brokest. All right. Singers make more money. Rappers make more. All the local people make more money than anybody being a poet. If you decide to be a poet for a career choice, you doing it for the people. That's the only. That's the only way. You ain't gonna make the same money being a poet. Like, nah. He's like, poetry, you charging? Man, you better come do this for free. I'm like, oh, dang, all right. But nah, I didn't see myself being a poet. I thought it was just gonna be a hobby until it brought me before a bunch of people. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it then.
Let's go. Were you ever nervous getting in front of people?
No, because unlike doing, because I speak. I do public speaking too. I know my poem. Like, that's it. Like, you know, I don't gotta try to memorize and try to entertain the crowd, you know, comedian and like that. I'm gonna get up there, introduce the poem, spit the poem, drop the mic and walk away. That's it. Ain't nothing to be nervous about. But like, what do I ever get? I get nervous if it's like a brand new poem that I ain't fully memorized, because you'll memorize the poem, but you don't memorize like the actions and words that you do with it when you do it, and trying to get that all succinct and all together is difficult. And nothing would be worse than when you forget your line and you gotta play it off. You forgot half of the poem, you gotta play it off. I remember I was in front of a crowd, I was spitting some pro-black stuff, and all that crowd was entertained, and I forgot it.
Whoa.
In the middle of it. No. But the thing about it is, when it's pro-black, all you gotta do is reset what you said before and say, y'all ain't hear me. You know what I'm saying? I forgot it. I paused for a second. I was like, man, y'all must have not heard me. I'm gonna say it again. And saying it again, I was like, oh, that's how that line go. I had to remember it, man.
That's smart.
I'm not one of those poets who like people be like, oh, rewind. I hate that. I hate that.
Oh no.
They did a rewind for him. And he was like, I really don't like doing this. But for y'all, hold on, give me a minute. And he thought about it, he went back where it was, and he went right back with it. He know his stuff, man. I'm trying to tell you, he know his stuff. But that's deep, man. And then he's talking about commitment. Learning those, your poems ain't no 2-minute poems.
Nah, they not.
He got long. I'm
4 minutes, 7 minutes.
Yeah, he got like the one you got like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he got long verses, and he be out there spinning. I guess what I like is he do his hand movements. Like he gets animated when he's doing certain things, which I think is dope because a lot of people that resonates differently when you're talking and you're showing your hand movements. They can actually see it.
Performance wise, I take a lot of inspiration from like battle rap. They're actually a very intelligent crowd, and they be saying you got to be privy to like what's happening in the world, what's happening, because they be saying some stuff that will go over the average person's head, and because the crowd be reacting, make it seem like they actually be smart to get that stuff across. And battle rappers speaking like normal language, and you understand it. Some of it complicate you, so like being a fan of battle rap, when I used to watch it a lot, especially when they be talking and doing all of this, it draws you into the crowd when you talk with your hands and do all these things. And that's why I get a lot of my inspiration performance-wise, like from battle rap. I'm not sure if y'all watch battle rap.
I've seen it a couple times.
They be saying some stuff, so that's performance-wise. That's where I get that inspiration from.
That's dope. So since we were talking about Black History too just now, like I know everybody try to get on Black History Month and be like, yo, we get to recognize a lot of greatness that we had to witness back in the days. Are there any Black moments that you'd be like, yo, I'm proud of this? Like this is one of those every time. It don't have to be Black history.
Throughout history or
throughout history,
our
Black history, that you'd be like, yo, I'm proud of this moment right here. This is really a moment that is Black excellence for me.
Dang, man. Wow. All right. So Black excellence for me personally that I'm proud of.
It don't have to be in the 70s or in the 20s. Just something you consider Black personally that I like.
Man, I don't know. I think there's a lot of individuals in Black history that get a lot of like credit, not credit, but like, acclaim and all this other stuff. But I dislike all the stuff that was happening in the 1900s and all that. If I can, that make it sound old. The 20th century, but like in the 60s and stuff like that, and even beforehand. But like the groups of Black people and what Black people was at that point is something that I'm very proud of. Like, I don't even say proud of. That's not the exact word, but I'm like, it's admirable the way Black people came together and did what they did, and they kind of moved as a movement. Believe it or not, despite what you read and hear, when you actually do the research, Black people had their families, they had their mamas, they had their daddies, they had trades, they was doing all these things, they were successful. If you want to go out there and protest because you got your own business that you make with this, you can be like, all right, I'm going to go out there and protest. If we try to protest now, it's not going to work like that. You can be like, can I get this weekend off? You got to ask somebody to do it. It's not the same. So I'm proud of that moment. I know people get a lot of flack for talking about the Black Panthers, but if you look at how they started and what their inception was and everything like that, now how it ended and everything that history is hindsight is 2020. Everything that came to the light is kind of messed up, and how it ended, and how it is now. I don't really know much about it now, but how it started and how it was doing, that's something that is very I could look at that and be like, it's a proud moment. Like, go watch them Bobby Seale interviews or whoever may have you type of thing, and especially Martin Luther King. And a lot of people don't like Martin Luther King because they claim he was soft and this, that, and the other. When you start getting to the Black intellectuals and I'm Malcolm X and this, that, and the other, I'm like, all right, Malcolm X cool too, but y'all forget how much America hated Martin Luther King.
Both
you know what I'm saying?
Hated both of them until they was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So those are some things that I respect. And then the fact that after slavery, more Black people became literate all at one time, more than any other time in history. So, and that's in America, that's something unheard of historically. So that's a moment for me.
That's dope.
And hip hop.
Hip hop, yeah.
Can't forget about that.
Yeah.
Can't forget about that one. Is there something that you would like to debunk?
Ooh, all right, cool. Let's talk about Willie Lynch. Most people talk about Willie Lynch and they hear the fact that first off, there's not discrepancy. There's Whether or not he really existed is another thing, right? And they'll tell you that, like, the legacy of slavery, say that black folks don't got their mama, they don't got their daddies, they're raised by their mamas, we in poverty for whatever X amount of reason and all this other stuff and this, that, and the other. If that was true right after slavery, by the time we get to where we at now, it should be worse, right? If it continues to degenerate and get worse and worse. Mm-hmm. I think when you start to go back and look at it, Black folks was, let's take the era between, let's say like the 1920s up until like the 1960s, 80s, around between that time, because it started to wane off towards that time. Black people were married. Black people weren't. The married rate of poverty, the percentage of poverty amongst married Black couples was very low, and that's still true today now, just all throughout history. They'll tell you, don't be together, don't do all this other stuff. They got all this, everything that's happening, but like Black people was doing very well during that time. And so like, I want to debunk that because they feel like, oh, because, Black people was doing this and we came such a far way and a long way. Like, did we? Did we really? Look at all the stuff that y'all really be proud of about all the stuff Black people did back in those times. And it was like Black Wall Street, and all these other Black excellent. There was a foundation right there that it wasn't taboo. All the stuff that it wasn't no single families like that, and different things like that. The percentage of that it grew. So like that's something I want to debunk. That whole like legacy of slavery. It wasn't for them 80s and crack and all the other stuff that infiltrated the Black community and turned up. We just now bouncing back to where it was before that time. All the people in the 80s or whatever who grew up without their fathers, who have become fathers, and you start to see Black people do incredible things, but they always have been, but they're doing it again. It's because that family structure, at least in my eyes, is starting to rebuild. So I'm like, I want to, I guess, debunk that.
But I want to actually kind of elaborate on what you just said, because it was one of my questions. You kind of started, but do you feel like from what you've seen growing up, do you feel like the 70s and 80s movement, are we still going through the same things then that we are right now? Like, do you feel like it's just this generation is going through the same thing that the people were going through in the 70s?
Yeah, so like when you start to look at history, you start to see that history is cyclical. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the same things happen over and over again, but that cycle in which it happens usually outlives a lifetime. You get what I'm saying? So like if this happens every 80 years and you read history, you know it happens every 80 years, the average person may not make it to 80 years. So by the time you get to that point, you start to realize that I don't care for politics, right? But when Donald Trump became president, I felt closer to the people in like the 60s than I ever did like now, because just too many things are congruent. Technology change, all that other stuff change, but like history takes a long time. Like people take a long time to change in general, especially when we talk about community. So I think that some of the same issues, like if you know who Tony Brown is and the Black Journal and all this other stuff, some of the same issues they talk about then it's the same issue that's prevalent now. You get what I'm saying? So like I think that we've come a long way in certain aspects. I'm not even sure if it's the right way, but like I think the issues are the same. Obviously, we're not dealing with such overt racism, for example.
I don't know. Trump definitely made
he brought it out, which is what made me think about that. But like, I felt like if you were even in this own community right here, and my own dad was telling me this. First off, my dad is old enough to remember when he went to school with white people. He remembers. Like, I remember him telling a story. I remember when they desegregated. I'm like, oh dang! I'm like, dang, you actually lived through that? I'm like, hold up. But like about how like if you on the wrong side of the tracks, they'll kill you or something like they'll do something like that. I'm like, all right, that's not. I don't gotta go through that. You get what I'm saying? Like it's not overt in that sense.
It depends on where you go.
Depending on where you
wrong city,
the
wrong town. Yeah, you definitely have to
be in the right spot.
Yeah.
But like I remember I got a brother who lived over there in that area. That's the first time ever in my life somebody called me a nigga and meant it. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was making fun of him. I'm like, man, you're the only Black dude in the neighborhood. I know some neighborhood got a bunch of pickup trucks. I'm like, man, you don't ever go outside. You don't ever da da da. I was making fun of him. And he was like, wow, what for? So I could come out here and be targeted. We would walk, me, him, and my brother was walking down the street.
Wow.
Buddy in the pickup truck, you know how I go. Confederate flag, all that stuff. Get out of here, you dancing nigga. I'm like, ooh. I wasn't even shocked. I was like, wow, he really. I'm like, this man just called me a nigga. I was like, I wasn't even hurt. I'm like, you could have said my name. Like, why you had to do all that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, that was a shocker, to say the least. But I think the problems that they had back in the day are same problems that we have now. And the internet probably gonna crucify me for this, but I think they had better leaders back in those times than we do now. These leaders right here want to be heard. A lot of them ain't doing no action. And it's like I had an argument because I seen like at one point there was a quote going around that was like, "Dear white people, we are not our grandparents. Yeah. You will get these hands." I was like, "What?"
Yeah. I feel like that's a disservice
to the grandparents. I'm like, because look what they did. They don't organize. They don't did this and all this other stuff. I'm like, what? Yeah. What? Man, y'all talk a good game, but y'all nowhere near as organized as they was. Back they went to college when you had to read books and not Google stuff. These people were smart. You know what I'm saying?
To the library.
Exactly.
They use the encyclopedia and all this.
Yeah.
But hold on, when you say leaders though, right? You think them killing off our leaders or putting our leaders in jail like Huey P. Newton and like doing not like just crucifying them publicly to make you be like, oh, we can't trust the leaders, or with Malcolm. The situation with the Nation of Islam, or killing Martin Luther King. Like, you feel like when people see now those leaders, like, yo, I want to be a leader, but I don't want to have to go through what they had to get through. And then once you see a little bit of money coming through being a leader, then it's like,
depends on what you got it. First off, ideas are the most dangerous thing in the world. You get what I'm saying? People are willing to die over their ideas, which make them so dangerous. That's in any type of movement, whether revolutionary or not, ideas is what moves that. If you're not willing to die for your ideas, which is your person, that's who you are, that makes up you, you're not willing to defend that, then what are you? Like, are you that's spineless. I mean, if you're gonna do something, do it. If you're gonna say what you say you is, then do it. You know what I'm saying? Other than if you're not that, then now it just so happens to be that, history murked all the leaders and this, that, and the other. And every leader who prophesied their demise was like, hey, look, don't expect to live for the people and do stuff for the people, and don't expect to be rich. And you, depending on what times look like, don't expect to live for a long time, whatever the case may be. But regardless of all that, which is why in some cases, except for the case of, even in the case of Martin Luther King, before you take down a leader, you have to vilify them. You get what I'm saying? That's what gets communities behind you. So like, for example, anybody if you look at the right news stories, they'll say, oh, this person was this person was this. They try to vilify them so that way when you kill them, they don't become a martyr for the cause. Because what it'll do is inspire them. Exactly my point. So it's like the worst thing they ever could do was kill Jesus. Well, they done killed this man. Now look what happened. You read the Bible, you look about how the church grew after that and everything like that. So I'm like, let's tarnish their image, then kill them, and then see if we can go with that. But people get too smart. People get inspired for all that. Like, imagine you in your own personal life. All your family is for your family. Somebody hurt your family or do something to your family, you get inspired to be like, nah, I'm not gonna let that happen, and make you rile up to go do something. So just imagine that on a broader scale. The Black Panthers started in 66, 68. Yeah, and you would think because they were so prevalent in the 70s that it started in the 70s. They got more people joining their group once Martin Luther King died, because they was like, all right, we got to do something. Like, they either made this man a martyr or whatever the case may be. But I started off. I'll end it right there saying that, like, ideas is the most dangerous thing that you can possess, and depending on what you want to do with that dictates your life. And they take other people's life. Like, if you're not willing to die for that, I don't know, man. I think the leaders back then were good. I'm not saying you don't got good leaders now, because he do, but they were a different caliber. They had to rise to the occasion. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if the circumstances create the means of whatever needs to be created. There's a reason why if you have a bigger school, it's typically more talented, because somebody got to be the best. Now that's a wider pool that they have to compete with to be the best. Basically, the circumstances had to create that person. So it's no doubt, it's no surprise that the most racist times and worst times in America produce the best leaders. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, look at the atmosphere we're in now. We too comfortable. Everybody don't want to give up comfort because we living too comfortable. Ain't nobody gonna sacrifice for that. So the leaders we have now, you may have some that slip through, but the leaders we have now ain't the same as the people who we got back then. Martin Luther King was recognized as Martin Luther King.
When you say that about the family and you got family, right?
Yeah.
You say you are say you are aspiring to be a leader. It's things that you feel like you have this, you say an idea to make the community better, but you got a family. Now you've seen what happened to Martin Luther King. You've seen what happened to Malcolm X. You've seen what happened to our leaders. You don't want to put your family through that, do you? Like that's a different time.
Here's my thing. Leadership, they got on the public stage, but leadership starts in your home. You know what I'm saying? Before any of that stuff happened, they were who they was before people started paying attention to them. You get what I'm saying? They were doing that already. And first off, like, and then I don't want to leave my family doing stuff like that, you know, like putting myself out there to die or whatever the case may be, but tomorrow ain't promised anyway. You get what I'm saying?
That was actually, so hold on, don't go too fast. I got a question for you. That's one of my questions. Don't say the question. I'm gonna let Amanda come in real quick, because I feel like we was going back and forth, and the people gonna be like, where Amanda went?
Well, definitely you took a couple of my questions with your side questions, but that's okay. It's okay. Anywho, I wanted to talk more along the lines of what do you feel that is a sensitive issue in today's America that America doesn't take seriously?
A sensitive issue. A sensitive issue in America that America doesn't take seriously. Everything. I don't know where to start. I think it's politics. I think it's everything. Like everything that they America getting their feelings about everything, but a lot of people getting their feelings about everything. But the only language that anybody ever understand is money. You get what I'm saying? So like, you know, I'm not saying get focused on it, but like, if that's what you use to communicate, then your communication will go a lot farther. Right? They didn't care about this Negro in the South, Martin Luther King, talking and doing all this. He can talk how much he wants to, but as soon as he said, "Hey, stop walking," you know, all right, chill out, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to, you know, let's come together and figure this out. That's the only thing that get people to move or whatever the case may be. So like, I don't think every issue is a sensitive issue in America, especially when they talk about like the family, how they dictate that, what you do with your own time. I don't think like all this racism, for example, all this stuff, like this stuff ain't sensitive. Like the people might be sensitive, but like this, like, I don't know, man. Everything in America is sensitive.
True. What is your hopes for 2021 moving forward?
Make it out alive.
That's every year.
That's every day. But I just wanna I'm actually beginning to, I don't know, man. Like I just want to be a good father. I just want to be a good husband. Everything else I do on the side. I work, trying to start a business, trying to write a book. I do that on the side. You know what I'm saying? Like all poetry, I do that on the side. Like, I just want to be a good father, and I just want to be a good husband. And that's really it. I don't have much aspirations behind that, because everything I do goes into doing those things. You get what I'm saying? Like from doing poetry or whatever, I gotta be a good example to my kids. I gotta be a good leader to my wife. You know what I'm saying? So like only way I can do that is by being is whatever I do it well and do it like that. But I don't know, that's it. I don't have too many.
Well, Amanda, before we, so because you know we got this. You want to get in your fill in the blank before we you got it ready, or you want to do it a little later?
I got it. I got comfortable.
Let's get your fill in the blank.
All right. So I got fill in the blank. This game is a fabulous game. Of course, I'll give you a sentence that you're going to finish off or fill in the blank. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, in your notebook, well, in my notebook, you will find
Poems.
how far back?
Uh, oh man, he caught me. I don't know, 3 years.
Wow. All 3 years? In one notebook? Or is it a span of notebooks?
Oh, notebooks, probably like 8, 7 years. I only got one notebook. I got two, but I don't write in them like I should. We got technology.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. So
Don't judge me.
my next one would be in my music rotation, you will see.
Gospel, instrumentals, Motown, 90s and the 60s, but mostly gospel and instrumentals.
Okay, who's your this is not part of it, but who's your top three artists?
Artists ever?
Yeah.
Oh man. For sure, Tupac, um, J. Cole,
Okay.
and my lifetime. Everybody else is an honorable mention. I don't got. I don't know too many people out there like slowly, but surely. That first when Kendrick came out, I was like, all right, he good, but I don't like him like that. But he started to grow on me after a while. But after that, everybody else is an honorable mention. Like, you know, everybody discography, because I like 60s music, I like 90s music. And in my effort to try to listen to more gospel music, there's some gospel artists out there that are really good, like really good. Like, surprised, not just good for a gospel artist. I'm like, dang, this actually slap. Like, this is actually pretty doggone good. And for those artists, I put Mouthpiece. He's a Christian artist. Aldre, a part of a group called ARC. And Theory Has It, who was an older Christian artist.
Oh wow. Okay. My next blank is if blank was in position of power, I would 100% be okay with it.
Then the last part, 100% be what? Okay with it?
Yes.
Ain't no human in here I trust. My daddy told me if you want to do something, do it yourself. You get what I'm saying? Look, when Trump became president, when Obama became president, I was like, all right, maybe I could be president. They got a black dude in the White House. They running music, all this other stuff. But then when Trump became president, I'm like, they let anybody in this world. I could do it. I told him, look, when I run for president, I'm gonna be America's first all-black president. They're gonna vote for me. We're gonna get it done. Maybe I was in power, but I don't care about politics that much. And it's the USA, and y'all need Jesus. So if he was in power, I'd be okay with
it. My next one would be, the world would be okay without.
Oh man, that's hard to say.
That's a good one.
Probably like cocaine.
I mean, no coffee.
Just a smidge.
Ain't no coffee.
Heroin.
All right. Okay.
I see you with that one.
A crime. How about that one?
Poverty, yeah.
Okay. Another one I have is when I find time with my spouse, we like to.
Oh, I don't really watch TV. She watch TV. I don't care for TV. I'm a boring individual, man. I don't go out. I don't watch TV. I don't care for all that. But when we find time with each other, we just talk. Like she's cool to talk to. You know what I'm saying? I say this for any married person. My wife is not a headache. I'm not saying that to say women are a headache, but when I deal with other women sometimes and they married, I'll be saying to myself, like, I don't know how in the world your husband put up with this. I cannot be that dude because me, I'd have snapped already. My wife is peaceful. You know what I'm saying? She a woman, the same way I'm a man, and every man the same, but they different. Every woman the same, but they different. But I could look at my wife, I could smile, and my headache go away. You know what I'm saying? I look at some other woman like, you know what? I don't know how I can deal with you, man.
You gotta get them brothers a hug and be like, yo.
you get another like, I understand, like, bro.
Just like take out holy water and sprinkle all of them.
Nah, I couldn't. You know what's funny? Everyone be complaining, I want a real man. I want a real. But when you find one, it's a problem. You know how me and my wife, like, look, I told my wife, first off, I was in college. So if I seen her, I ain't never seen her before. I'm like, I'm gonna shoot my shot now. Kobe, you know, I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? So if I talk to him, like, look, not to quote the Boondocks, I was like, I like you and I want you. Now we can do this the hard way, or we can do this the easy. Any woman I ever like, I ain't gonna sit here and play no game with you. I'm like, I don't know if you like me. I don't know if you da da da. You're gonna skip all that because I told you straight up, like, yeah, I like you. Now what? Every girl I was talking to, I was romantically interested in to be my wife. That was the purpose of dating. I went to them with that conversation, sat you down and had a real talk, and it was like, let me get back to you tomorrow. I'm like, she don't know what she won't. That girl, I was like, look, I like you and I want you. You trying to get married or not in the future, of course. And she was like, yeah. I'm like, all right then, cool. Down the line, we married. Now, but I know what I wanted. It's the rest of y'all, not, you know, I hope they ain't watching. It's the it's the some of y'all that got that all messed up. But no, we talk when we find free time. We just be chilling, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's up. I like that.
Okay.
I got my boys gotta hear this. My boys gotta hear this.
Man, look, bro, this is my first girlfriend.
Yeah?
Yeah, I ain't gonna say she was the first one I was with, but she was, but this is my first girlfriend. Me personally, I wanted to get married. I was ready to get married right out of high school, but it was a lot of women my age, or women my age, that it was just too immature. I'm not gonna argue with you if I like the picture on Instagram. Ooh. I'm not gonna argue with you over all of this stupid stuff. Yeah. Me and her do have discussions about money. I can't leave her now. She got all my passwords. But but like I'm not. I knew I wanted a family. I knew I wanted all of this stuff like when I was like in middle school. So I catered my life toward that. I wasn't gonna sit here and waste my time with whoever I was wasting my time with. If you was there to waste my time, I made that known and got it out of the way. But like when I want somebody I wanted to be married to, I'm like, no, that was all purposeful. I'm not. The moment I asked any female, like, look, man, I see a future, like real talk, I'm talking to you. And she was like, I don't got time for all that. And just deuces. And this, I don't got time for all that. We talk. That's it.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to Black Love for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Of course. Okay, my last question is pertaining to your daughter. Your daughter is Gabby, right?
My daughter is Faith, and she got a gap.
Okay. Faith gives you the most joy when?
Oh man. It's the little things that matter. Like, you know, when she like don't peel me when I change her diaper. When I come into the house, you know, I'm mainly the one who give her like discipline only way a dad can. But I don't know. Every time my baby is happy, I'm happy. You know, I come into the house, she start running towards me. I'm happy about that. She wake up happy because you got to be up early. She be happy. Most baby wake up and start crying. I'm like, she just wake up and start laughing. I'm like, all right, be cool. Me and you gonna be tight till you turn 15.
Wow.
That's when it started. Hey, I'm joking. Am I? No. Hey, I got a big backyard next to a lake. So
man, don't do that.
Hey, y'all put it together that way.
Don't do that. We're going to have to edit that part out just in case. But, just in case.
I don't know. When my baby is happy, I'm happy.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Okay. And that's the end of my fill in the blank.
So I'm going to jump on mine real quick. Mine ain't really no game. I see. I try to stick with this one. I want to
I'm
stick
ready.
with the black history. So I'm gonna say a couple black people's name that I feel like they did some things. And I want to get your opinion on it. So when I say their name, you just tell me what you think about it.
All right, cool.
Chadwick Boseman.
Oh man, rest in peace. I like his acting, and I'm not going to admire him for his acting. What stick out to me with him is that the fact that he was sick and doing all this stuff and still like persevered and do all this stuff. He's gonna have great actors that come through and do all this other stuff. People who do good at what they do. That's what you. But all the students in this class who think, oh, my used to come on their report cards. It's like my mama gave me $5 for A, and my daddy look at me is like, you're supposed to get here. You know what I'm saying? So people who good at what they do, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But the fact that he was able to do all this in the middle of being sick and he knew what was going on, his family was going on, and still like, move forward. For that reason, he got my respect. Time will tell how big his impact was gonna be. A lot of people get attached to their character. Like you never gonna forget the guy who played Urkel because of Urkel. Now this man played Black Panther. This man played Jackie Robinson. He did it at a time like this. Yeah, well, black biopics is something that's really popular right now. So like, time will tell how good his legacy will be, but it's looking promising. So sure. He got my respect for that.
All right. What about Cicely Tyson?
Oh man, I don't know much about Cicely Tyson, other than the fact that she was able to live so long. That tell me she was taking care of herself, that a lot of people don't do. And I don't know too much about her, but I know she still was acting at one point, like in that.
She was still acting part of
that Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah, Tyler Perry kept acting.
Yeah, and so I don't know much about her, but I know that she will be missed.
All right. What about Muhammad Ali?
Oh man, so Muhammad Ali is one of the few famous people who are famous more so for what outside of what they do. Like for example, you got Tupac songs that are viewed just as much as his interviews. You get what I'm saying? And stuff like that. And so for Muhammad Ali, him and his legacy for just how to be an entertainer and a more rounded individual, more than just what he's doing, is what he's gonna. I ain't gotta say that, but y'all know he gonna stand the test of time for a long time. And so and then he was willing to. That's another thing, fighting for the people, to put his money on hold for a cause that he believed in, because you cannot pay for that ideals. If nobody can pay for that ideals, that's a Judas, right? You could money talk, and it's speaking louder than you speak to yourself. Like ain't no way. Like you know what I'm saying? You are married. You love your wife. Somebody tell you, hey, I got $1,000. You come mess with this girl over here. My morals is more than $1,000. I got $1 million. I come. If you ever get to the point where you be like, when you start to negotiate with that, whatever you were doing, you can be bought off. It's not real. But so shout out to him for that, for being the most famous entertainer in the world, and say, nah, I'm not gonna fight.
That's real. What about Malcolm X?
Oh man, Malcolm X goes without saying. Malcolm X first off reaches out to all the black folks that's just angry. But if you read Malcolm X biography himself and his own stuff, towards the end of his life, he was changing and he was getting more aware of things that we can be aware of now because we got technology. But his impact will always be felt because I think he spoke to the sleeping black man in America that's very frustrated with the way things are in America. And shout out to them, and I'm gonna say this shortly, is like the answer people don't want to hear, but is the answer for any other reason. Nobody's gonna do anything for you. You gotta do that yourself. Yeah. And black people don't want to hear that, all the time. Like they deserve to give me this and da. They may not. Now what you gonna do? I know there was an argument about the minimum wage and this, that, and the other. You know who not fussing about minimum wage? People who own businesses and making their own money. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna just minimum wage you out of poverty. You can't go to any other place in the world and be like, all right, we in Thailand and they in India, we have a problem with money down here. How do we fix this? Just raise the minimum wage. Nah, that's not how it's gonna work. Yeah. But yeah.
So what do you when I When I say this name, what do you think about Jose Delevoe?
Oh man. For those y'all who don't know, that is my uncle. And he passed away and he was 83, I think. And it was funny, I spoke at his funeral and I still had that poem. He had, I think they said, with like a 5th grade education or something like that. By the time I met this man, he was already old, overweight, couldn't see, but he had a brand new SUV. Mm-hmm. Like, how you driving this? You know what I'm saying? This man, when he left this earth, he had houses. You know what I'm saying? He had businesses. You get what I'm saying? And he will forever have my respect because he kept it real every time I talked to him. And what I learned about him in his death and knowing how he lived and things like that, it was I had much more respect for him. Like, I remember I was talking to my auntie who was married to him, who passed away not too long after he did. And, you know, they used to talk to her like, oh, he could do that. They were getting on her about, why you doing all this stuff for this man? So I went and approached her and I talked to her about it. And these people actually lived through history. You know what I'm saying? Like, they in their 80s, that's a long life. And she was like, I'm like, why are you doing all this? Why are we doing it? And she was like, you know, he gave me a good life from before I was even imagined. You know what I'm saying? He gave me a good life. He did all these things for me and this, that, and the other. It's like, it don't bother me. And being a married man now, I get that. Like, sometimes you just do stuff.
That's the least I could do. Like,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you know, you just want to do it because, like, why not? That's truly like a selflessness in a marriage. But he will always have my respect for that and the impact he had as the patriarch of the family.
That's dope. Now we're gonna get people who are living. Barack Obama.
How do I feel about Barack Obama?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Barack Obama was my dude. Like, you know, I couldn't vote for him. I was never old enough. But he was. In high school, I had 4 years of Obama. In college, I had 4 years of Obama. and that was a unique time in history that I was able to be at that fundamental age in discovering myself. Obama's America was an interest in America as well. He probably gonna be one of the coolest presidents we ever had. This man went to Harvard. He smoked weed, and he was balling. You know what I'm saying? All this other stuff. Like,
I feel the shot he did. Oh man.
But he a cool dude. He a cool dude. Whether or not everything he did for America can be argued to be, you know, tokenism, or argued to be just as much as any other president. That's, you know, that's with everybody. But I like Obama.
Yeah. All right. What about Serena Williams?
She is the few athletes that we can name that dominated their sport. And in general, like, she dominated her sport. And I got respect for her, but the sheer dedication it has for any athlete to be as good as how they gonna be, I got respect for her. And she's smart. And exactly, she's smart with her. The black community was mad for being with a white dude. I'm like, man, let that woman live. But she's smart with her money. She dedicated towards her craft, and she got my respect for that too.
All right, we only got a couple more. Dave Chappelle.
I like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is obviously funny. He got a skit show. We all respect him for the reason we respect Dave Chappelle. And he's another one, maybe because of his profession, who also sacrificed his for himself too. But I mean, I don't know. Anybody who gets very good at what they do, you got respect for him. I like Dave Chappelle. I listen to him on the way to work. So
and I like one thing with Dave Chappelle too, that he doesn't do it just by himself. He makes sure that he brings his friends with him, you know. Especially with the concert, he brought like Kanye West. He brought yeah.
And I had an idea, but like, Dave Chappelle is one of the few comedians who you really can't cancel. You get what I'm saying? And imagine, and that's a genre, or that's a field that is like, you easily get canceled. Like, if I'm Dave Chappelle, and y'all know y'all can't cancel me, they gonna support me anyway. Yeah. Imagine if I'm Dave Chappelle and I made a platform for comedians that, you know, you're not gonna get canceled. You know what I'm saying? Here's Dave Chappelle's comedic spotlight. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, but I like Dave Chappelle. He's funny, obviously. And I think he's very he's gotten too good. He's one of the people who dominate his craft as well.
All right.
Especially right now.
Two more. LeBron James.
I like LeBron when he was in Miami. Let me say this about LeBron, right? You could argue about his basketball skills. To me, he is not my favorite basketball player.
Okay.
Maybe top 10, but he's not my person. I grew up in South Florida, right? Okay. Probably like number 6, who knows? But he's not my favorite basketball player. But he's the one basketball player, the second athlete that I have respect for more so what they do off the court. This man, God gave millions of dollars to this man right out of high school. He dominated his sport. Whether or not you like him is a different. Stayed married, no scandals to the same person, raising young men and a daughter. You know what I'm saying? He's doing a good start in school. He's doing all this stuff. You can't hate this man off the court. You get what I'm saying? I can hate him on the court as much as I want to, and I don't. But I'm like, I got respect for him in that way as well. Like this man is I think he's a great off the court basketball players. I don't think there's anybody that can play at his level that has that amount of prestige and respect behind them, what they do off the court. Not one.
All right. And the man I want to know about Colin Kaepernick.
I like Colin Kaepernick too.
You remind me of Muhammad Muhammad Ali, just a smidget.
Because of the sport aspect and stuff like that. I have no issues with him. The only thing I have no issues with him, and I think that I think he was his heart and the reasons behind he doing stuff is in the right place. His tactics, and what he do, I would have do that. I don't mind him. Let me for the record, I don't mind him kneeling. Kneel all you want to. Go ahead, make him mad. I don't care. But I think he could have did, and only hindsight to know. Like hindsight is 2020. I think he could have did a lot better strategic wise because this man had a following behind him. He was still, he's making noise for himself. Like you can use that. The sway of public opinion can be very powerful. And so, like, if he had that all in his hand, if he wanted to do that, maybe he did everything he set out to do and he's done. But I like him. I had no problem. I defend him. I got arguments about this man when I was in school, especially when I was taking the Black History classes.
All right. I agree with you. I'm a fan of his as well. And I mean, like you said, he doesn't talk much. That's the thing. He has other people that talk for him. So it's like you kind of don't know what his intention is because he don't say it.
I think his motive might be speaking for him too. So like action speaks louder than words. So,
so my last one. Nate Delevoe.
How do I feel about him?
Yeah, how you feel about Nate Delevoe?
I feel like his story is still being written.
Okay.
I feel like he is not done with everything that he set out to do in life. I think people. I'm a poet, y'all. I'm a multifaceted individual. I wrote poems about the family. I wrote poems about belief in God. I wrote poems about Black people and stuff like that. It just so happens that people like my Black stuff the most, and I don't blame them. There's a lot of passion in it. But he got a lot going on. His story is still being written.
Okay.
The only aspirations that he has in life is to be a good father, a good husband, and allow his actions to speak louder than his words. And he's a speaker, so
for sure.
That's funny.
For sure. I know we pressed for time, so I just want to ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Have you ever written something and then you were like kind of nervous the reaction you get, where like backlash that I know I said something that's gonna ruffle some feathers?
Yeah, your writing is supposed to be not discriminating, but it's supposed to be critical thinking. It's supposed to make you some level of controversy. It's supposed to make you think, and you can't think if everybody agrees with you. The people who stretch your thinking capacity, the people who disagree with you. Now, have I wrote something like that I was nervous about the reaction? Maybe not, because my audience is for me. You know how people write and they write stuff for them. They say they do it for the people. They do it for all of this and stuff and things like that. I don't do it for the people. I do it for, I was doing it before I even had people who would like me. I do it for me. If the people like it, that's cool. I speak to my own audience. But I will tell you, there was I say a poem into which I say nigga in the poem. And a lot of people can't handle that word. But you got to handle that word to get through the poem. So your maturity level and insight level has to be this level, at the level of being able to handle somebody saying nigga, but saying it and not just for no reason, for you to handle it. Now, the people, it was in front of a bunch of white people. And it was
that's like... Actually, I know you have performances where it's a mixed audience or a predominantly white audience. I don't think he's changed. Do you ever change your, like, I'm coming in knowing this is my audience, I'm coming with this form, or you be like, yo, I'm gonna give them what I think my audience wants to do?
Or
I try not to focus on shit. I hate when, like, that's like being a poet and somebody saying, oh, can you write a poem about this? Like, no, you gonna get what I can give you.
Yeah.
But censorship, I try not to too much. Have I? Yes. Delivery and tone, yes. But let me say this: the most important part about a message is that it gets received. You get what I'm saying? I want you to receive that message. You get what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm doing like my Black Lives Matter poem, and if I'm in front of a black crowd that I feel the crowd, I understand I already know what I'm walking into. I can say it a lot more passionate how I when I wrote it in battle rap-ish when I do it. I did it for a university. I did that same poem, and I can't come out there all rah 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 rah. I can't do that because they gonna ignore what I'm saying and not getting the message, but looking at how I'm saying. You get what I'm saying? That's why I don't like the text, because I could text you and be like, "Man, you stupid." That is the words. But I could have said that as, man, you stupid. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, man, you stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you interpret it different.
Yeah, emotions and all that. You can't get all that in there.
So, but the main aspect I try to get across is the message.
I got you.
I don't focus on censorship too much because chances are I probably won't do that. I censor myself twice ever since writing poetry, and it's likely not to happen again.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all see why we had to get this young man on the podcast, man. How can the people find you?
Y'all can find me on Instagram at Delevoe Speaks. That's Delevoe, DELEV, as in Victor, OE, Speaks, with a Z instead of an S. So that's DELEVOESPEAKZ. Delevoe Speaks.
Yeah.
On all platforms. I only got Instagram right now, so.
Well, hey, trust me, I'm the same way. My personal only got Instagram. I don't have no personal Facebook or none of that. So
other people got me on YouTube and whatever, but if you Google my name, then other stuff will pop up. But I got an Instagram.
Yeah. So before we get up out of here, we appreciate you for stopping by.
Yeah, for sure.
We got our quote today by none other than Barack Obama. I feel like this is in time with what we already was talking about. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. That's from Barack Obama. And I feel like what this young man is talking about either with the new generation, we are here. Like, we are the change.
Absolutely.
And I think within everybody, we have that change in us to do that. So, this is Irv and Co coming in on this Black History Month. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all on the next one for sure.
Irv and Co.
Irv and Co. Podcast. Go.
Irv and Co. If you're looking for a podcast, here you go. Yo.
In the system, it's often said that you judge a just society based on how they treat all of their citizens. And I say this without giving any rise to any bitterness, but to the men that killed them, I hope you get all the extensions on all of your sentences, sit down and reflect and worry about what comes next. And USA Judiciary, don't mess this one up. The faith and foundation of your system hangs in the balance, and it's bound to erupt.
Do it for justice, at least, since I know you don't do it for us. And I say this as a writer because it show ain't enough. Poems, music, movies, legislation, or laws that can penetrate the corruption in people's hearts. I leave that all up to God. And I ask, how can a man suspect a felon before the felony, but be allowed the racial tendencies to tear him apart? Over 70 days passed with no arrest before the video dropped. Someone ain't doing their job. I pray peace to all the families that lost a loved one without the killer ever getting the charge. I know y'all tired of all the hashtags, the list getting too large. My heart goes out to all the martyrs. I just hope they knew God, because I know it's hard to find them in a country so lost.